We have a very special guest today, Amy Price, who is the volunteer coordinator for the ACMC Foundation. And what we're going to talk about today is actually this Monday coming up is International Volunteer Day. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about volunteering and volunteering your time. Because a lot of people now, they're asking, people are short on cash, and they want to do something. So if you don't have the funds, to donate, this is a great opportunity for you to donate your time. So there are lots of opportunities, and Amy's going to explain those for us.
Absolutely. My name is Amy Price. As Sue said, I am the volunteer coordinator at the ACMC Foundation. I've been with the foundation for almost 3 years. I actually started right the same week that COVID shut the whole world down.
Wow.
I had my orientation with the organization that week that the schools closed and everything kind of took a step back. I didn't come to the foundation with the volunteer role. I had another role just helping with support and with the fundraising for the foundation. Because the foundation is a separate organization from the hospital. And our primary mission is to raise and administer funds to support the hospital. We're very interconnected with the hospital, and we only support the hospital and its entities. We don't raise money for other organizations or outside organizations. So I took over the volunteer role a little over a year ago.
Okay.
Volunteer program was shut down during COVID.
Right.
It was closed for almost 2 full years. We had no volunteers in the space, and that was a huge gap for us and a huge loss. We had volunteers in the hospital. The hospital opened its doors in 1904, and the Women's Auxiliary was formed in 1906.
Wow.
And so we've had volunteers with the hospital really from the beginning. And actually, if you think of the history of the hospital, volunteers were at the train wreck. Volunteers were the ones that set up the initial hospital and started the association. That was all done through volunteerism and people getting to their community. So it's an integral part of what we do and how we support our patients and our caregivers. So we reactivated our volunteers just about a year ago. It was right around Christmas that we got the go-ahead to move forward and bring volunteers back in. At that time, we had volunteers really in what we called back of the house opportunities. So we asked volunteers to come in. We had volunteers that helped with filing projects in our lab in Central Supply. They helped put together informational packets and really did a lot of administrative things to support caregivers, but not to be out in where patient areas were. At that time, we were seeing a pretty big spike. But then towards spring, we reintroduced our normal roles and where our volunteers can be.
Well, that's interesting that you said that there's other types of volunteering. Like I think some people, when they think about volunteering for the hospital, they think of the red coats, the people when you first walk in, those smiley faces, and they so friendly and help you with any questions that you have. But maybe if you're not that much of a social person or you have other skills, so what types of volunteering opportunities are there? Because you did mention back office, but can you be more specific? Like if someone's out there and like, I really want to volunteer, but I don't know what you need.
What we would need. We have our standard areas and our setup areas. Those include central registration.
Okay.
Someone sits there and helps direct and guide people and gets them to where they need to be. People in surgical waiting who help in that area. They welcome people. They help get patients back to their areas where they need to be, and they take families back and coordinate those. We have volunteers in our gift shop that check people out and welcome people, answer questions, just help out in the gift shop. We have volunteers who are in spiritual care. Those volunteers visit inpatients and talk with them, pray with them. They would facilitate if a patient wanted to see a minister. They would, let the chaplain know and help them get that that support that they need. And then we actually just reintroduced what was a former position that's called comfort running. And that's someone who works on the nursing floors and the nursing units and brings an inpatient a new blanket or a new pillow, maybe ice chips or coffee if they're allowed to have that, or just sits and visits with the patient who may not have time. So those are the traditional roles, but we do have, like you said, the non-traditional roles, which are, right now we have volunteers who come in and help put together information packets for the Cancer Center. It's binding booklets and collating them and stuffing them. They'll help with mailings, folding and stuffing envelopes. They help us with some of our initiatives with caregiver experience. If the caregiver experience committee does a lot of things to kind of build spirit and help our caregivers. And so if we're putting together packets for them or distributing candy for Halloween, they help in those ways.
So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, is there like an orientation or a training or something that you go through?
There is. The initial process, if you're interested in being that, is to fill out what we call our volunteer enrollment form. It's a simple one-page form that really just gives us your address information, emergency contact information.
Okay.
Once we have that in place, I meet with the volunteer and someone who's interested in volunteering. And we have an onboarding process. There's some paperwork that has to be filled out. All volunteers have to have a background check. They have to provide proof of their COVID and flu vaccinations. And then they are given a badge, just like a caregiver is. And so we put them through that process. And that's the initial start to the process. They're also given a bit of a uniform. We have a polo shirt and a sweater. They're given one of each. They are gray and they have say volunteer on them, have our logo, so that they wear those when they're in the building and when they're volunteering. And then from there, we identify where they want to volunteer. They can shadow in different areas, and they're trained by an existing volunteer in their area. And then we do have a formal orientation that we do. We ask them to go through the orientation sometime within the first 6 months of their starting. So that's done not right at the beginning, but that's a little more broad overview of policies and procedures. So
now, if someone out there they're thinking, I'd love to volunteer, but I'm a little pressed on time. Like, what time commitments do you ask of the volunteers?
We ask that someone who is able to volunteer is available a minimum of 2 shifts per month for 6 months of the year. So, for instance, typical shifts are about 2 to 4 hours, depending on which area you're in. So we'd ask for that. So that equates to about 4 to 8 hours a month. And then we say the 6 months because some people do leave, or take time off, or snowbirds. So we just want to be able to have somebody. We do need some consistency with that because of the onboarding process and the badging and the things that we go through to get people on board.
And I imagine if someone had more time, you would love that.
We love that. We have some volunteers who almost work part-time.
Wow.
I mean, they're there 2-3 days a week in their position, 4 hours at a time. So it's really up to the volunteer. They're coming to help us. We work around that.
How many volunteers would you say that you have?
Roughly between right around 20 right now, maybe a little over 20 volunteers actively.
So how many are you looking to get?
I believe pre-COVID we were right around 40. With the comfort running being active, and we're also kind of constantly looking at, are there different areas that we could provide? I believe at its height there were around 200 volunteers at one point in the hospital. And
then since it's International Volunteer Day on Monday, we also want to talk about the health benefits, because we all know it makes you feel good when you when you give your time or volunteer for other organizations. How is it related to your actual health? Your actual health.
There's been a lot of studies done on volunteering and how it impacts your health, and I think it impacts it really into, as it can improve the physical health, and it also has really strong benefits for mental health and well-being. Some of the physical benefits, there have been some studies that show that it lowers stress. I believe a Carnegie Mellon study that showed that individuals over 50 is who they studied. Those who volunteered were much less likely to have develop high blood pressure.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which can have a lot of impacts on your overall health. And volunteers report seeing physical improvements in their physical health once they start to volunteer. As far as the mental health and the well-being, volunteering improves your the sense of purpose. It improves self-esteem. It can lower depression. It lowers your stress levels, and builds confidence for those who do it. It just generally makes them happier. They report being happier at a significantly higher rate than people who don't volunteer.
Now, are your volunteers mainly retired seniors, or do you have any younger population that volunteers as well?
We do require that volunteers be over the age of 18. So we're not taking teenagers at this time. Some hospitals do. We don't. So, and most of our volunteer opportunities are in that 8 to 5 Monday through Friday window. So we're seeing those who don't have or don't work a typical shift. Most of our volunteers, are retirees, but we do have a number of volunteers who are younger, whether they work a different type of shift work where they're able to come in during those times. And what we're seeing with the comfort running actually is we're going to have some availability on the weekends now that volunteering on those nursing floors will be available for those who maybe haven't been able to volunteer because of their work schedules.
Now, if there's someone out there watching and they're interested in making that step and getting started, what is the first thing that they need to do?
The first thing that they should do is either go onto our website under the Foundation on Volunteers. There's an enrollment form they can download and fill out, or they can call me and I will get them one, however they would like to receive it, email or mail or anything like that. The first step is to reach out and get that form filled out.
Right. And then, what are you looking for in volunteers? Do they have to be real outgoing, or we kind of talked about there's different areas that they can.
It depends on the area
that they can work in. So if you're looking for someone for the comfort, like bringing, going into the rooms and asking patients, then you'd want a certain personality type for that.
Yeah.
But if someone's more, they want to do the busy work, then they can put the packets together. So it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities for no matter age or gender. I mean, whatever. You're seems like you're just looking for anyone who wants to help.
Anyone who wants to help. I think the major thing, especially for those who are going to be out in patient care areas, what we're looking for is people who have empathy and a little bit of that outgoingness and can just provide a smile and a warm greeting to the patients. It really improves the patient experience to have those little touches, just to have someone greet you warmly and kindly and when you're maybe a little nervous or unsure or just scared.
Yeah, it's a very vulnerable state that you're in when you're in the hospital, and and we have wonderful physicians and nurses, but just to have that added support as a volunteer, I think that's great. Is there anything else you want to discuss about the foundation or volunteering in general before we close? I don't believe so. I think we covered a lot. So if you are interested, again, please contact Amy. Do you have a phone number you they can.
997-6604
Okay.
is my number.
And your email?
Amy Price, Price, at acmchealth.org.
Right. Well, thank you, Amy, so much. This was great. I actually learned a lot too. I think this was a great topic, and hopefully we'll see some more volunteers in the next few weeks. All right. Thank you for joining us.